Ladies and gentlemen, Jake represent the fight now. And before we do get things started with the interview, as many people know about the news with Victoria Lee, it's sad, it's difficult to say the least. And I just want to take the time to say our thoughts and condolences to the Lee family. And for anybody that is struggling, just please reach out to them. Please go and check on them because this world can be hard, this world can be difficult, but we all need each other. So if you know someone that's in a very bad place, please try to get them out because it's really sad that the passing of an 18-year-old fighter from one championship, Victoria Lee, suddenly passed away. So once again, thoughts and prayers go out to her. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Back inside the StreamYard Studios once again. It is Jake representing the Fighting Now. And in case you guys don't know a thing or two about the Fighting Now, we are a page that pretty much get a chance to show off the amazing women of combat sports, from MMA to Muay Thai to boxing, kickboxing, you name it. We pretty much support that. So if you guys want to get a chance to follow us to pick up some merch, make sure to go and get yourself some at the Fighting Now on Instagram. Make sure you guys check that out. Thanks to our great friends at MMAtees.com. You guys can check out the link in the bio as far as the merchandise and everything else. So with that being said, so today our guest, she's on a very hot streak. She's currently 2-0 right now, and she's getting ready to have a fight for Fury Fighting at the end of January. I'm very excited because she's been a huge part of the page. She's been a huge part of the fight now for quite some time. So please, without further ado, please help me introduce y'all to my very guest this time, Miss Alivia bierley.
Hi guys. So
Hello,
I'm
how are
excited
you?
to be here. Yes, I'm doing good, doing good. Just counting down till we get to throw some hands and compete again. So it's a good time.
And of course, not to mention is that you posted that bruised face, broken nose. You have a lot that's happening. I mean, how is the fight camp going?
Well, and if you followed my last fight, I entered the fight looking worse than I exited the fight. So I believe that, if you go through the fight camp the right way, this is the part that should suck, the dieting, the conditioning, the shark tanks, the intense practices, the sparring rounds. So I always do end up getting a little bit beaten and banged up, but it's just to make sure that I'm ready to go whenever the real thing happens. So
Exactly, exactly. And if you guys want to get just to follow on for her journey, especially through fight camp and of course the fight itself, make sure you guys go follow her at Live Barely on Instagram because I'm sure she'll appreciate you enough. Because when I found out about her, it was from her last fight against Amanda Fiara, and I gotta tell you, incredible performance, incredible. You pretty much ended the fight so quickly, and of course now you're 2-0. So yet to you as a fighter, how much does it mean to you the fact that you're starting things off on a hot streak? You're pretty much trying to be able to start things off fresh, right?
absolutely. I mean, my mindset with it is, you got to enter the cage like you've already won. So I envision it in my head. Obviously, things happen in fights. If you if you watch the UFC or any other combat sports, you can know that all it takes is just one little mistake to go from absolutely dominating a fight to getting a head kick that knocks you out or anything like that. So I always know that there's always that risk of something could happen, but it's a very amazing opportunity so far to be able to start off my career 2-0. Looking to go 3-0 at the end of this month. But at the end of the day, I care more about the experience as well as just getting better as a fighter and more prepared for the next battle. Amateur is not the end of the road for me, so I want to make sure that I get all the learning curves, all the experience, all the little hiccups out the way now. That way we can keep getting better.
Exactly, and of course, we all want to get a chance to know as far as how you first started. So we all get inspired by what we do. For me as an interviewer, but for you as a fighter. So what inspires you to start fighting?
So at the time, it was honestly, I was a big fitness person my whole life. I played college basketball. I was a gymnast. I did pretty much all sports all my life growing up. But I grew up in a small town. I know you and I had talked about this a little bit separately, but grew up in a small town. Fighting was pretty taboo, especially women fighting. So once I moved to Chicago, 2020 came around. The pandemic happened. Gyms shut down. And I was struggling, mentally, emotionally, even physically, not being able to be active and go to the gym like I normally do. That's my safe space. That's kind of like my outlet. And up in Chicago, it was still cold. I mean, there was snow on the ground in May. So I was like, I've got to find something to do besides just, doing at home, like little workouts. It's kind of going crazy. So one of my good friends, Rocco, he actually still fights up in Chicago, and he's had a couple fights as well. He's like, why don't you, hit some pads with me? I'll show you a couple basics. And I was like, you know what? That sounds cool. I always wanted to, at least be able to defend myself living in a big city, some of the rioting and things like that. I was like, it's definitely a good thing to at least learn some basic self-defense. And one thing led to another. A basic defense turned into, let's start signing up for an MMA gym. Let's start working with coaches. Hey, let's do a fight. And now here we are. There's no turning back.
No, not one bit. And of course, before we got things started, you actually have a couple of comments. You have one from TCOM saying, "Let's go live," and of course, another one from Jeremy McGraw says, "Live the goat." So if anybody that's watching this live right now, if you guys want to get a chance to ask for some questions, we'll gladly get a chance to ask the questions after the interview. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. So, talk about that. You pretty much train at RPBJJ. I mean, pretty much that gym has helped you out so much, especially, a great start to the amateur career. So talk about how much that gym means to you.
Right. Well, and I want to give a shout out to all of the people, all of my sparring partners, all the coaches. Like I said, I started off in Chicago at Midwest Training Center. And then from there went down to Dallas, and I was at George's MMA and boxing, had a lot of great coaching, a lot of great sparring partners, a lot of great teammates there. And then was very fortunate to find the gym that I'm at now in San Antonio. And each gym obviously has its own characteristics and its own philosophies, but I've just been truly blessed to have great coaching staff that not only care, about winning and about getting better, but about their athletes as well. The gym that I'm at currently is a very predominantly jiu-jitsu based gym. I do
Hmm.
tend to consider myself to be a more of a strike or more of a grappler. However, my new coach that I'm working with now, Pete Spratt, he former UFC vet, but very, very big on the stand up and the striking. So really have had an opportunity to kind of hone in on the striking and the stand up as much as I possibly can. You don't want to get brilliant at the basics, but kind of keep building on that. So, we get a lot of good rounds. I've got a lot of teammates that are either in the UFC, got fights coming up on January as well too. So we're all in fight camp together, and it's really great. I am a firm believer that iron sharpens iron. And it takes a whole team. It takes an army. This is, yes, an individual sport, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of team component that goes into it.
Yeah. And of course, you talked about that is that your last two fights. I mean, pretty much the striking game went perfect for you in these last two fights, but yet we never really got a chance to see you work on the ground game. So, do you ever kind of hope that you get a chance to display your groundwork in this fight coming up?
Well, I always want a chance to display my skill set. I think at the end of the day, obviously you go into fights with a certain game plan or a certain mindset. You know what your strengths are. You tend to try to have a general idea of what their strengths are. Early on in amateur careers, especially with her being, this is her debut. Obviously, I've not, done all kinds of research, but I'm focusing on playing to my strengths and being aware of maybe the things that she might want to do. I definitely do want to be able to showcase not just that I hit hard, but also that I am good on the ground. I do have the wrestling and I do have the submissions too. I've not gotten any wins by submission in MMA just yet, so that is also something that I want to display, because I just don't want anyone to think that I'm just a wrestler or I'm just a stand up or whatever it might be, but that I've got that whole package.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I think as all fighters, and not just you, but all fighters, don't get me wrong, we love to get a chance to have that quick finish, that quick knockout TKO, but it would be greater just to get a chance to have that first submission win, just to be able to say, cross that off my to-do list, say, hey, I got my first submission, what's next to come, right?
Right. No,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, the one thing I love about it is that, whenever you first started, you pretty much thought that, this might be great, for self-defense, and all that. So the one thing I love about it is that for anybody that's watching this now, I mean, you don't have to be a fighter just to get involved with MMA or boxing or Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, whatever it is, because you can pretty much just show that you can be able to defend yourself in so many ways. So I encourage anybody that's watching this, if you're not a part of the gym and you really want to get a chance to learn, self-defense, whatever it is that you want to learn, Go to a gym. Look at what happened to Liv. She went from get a chance to learn something new and already 2-0 in her amateur career. I'm very excited to see what's more to come for her. So if you guys want to get to check it out, go to your local gym. Go to a gym. How many miles away? Doesn't matter because trust me when I tell you, it's worth it.
Absolutely, could not agree more. I was 24 when I first threw my first 1 and 2, so you're never too old to get started. And looking back, I mean, my only regret is that I wish I would have kind of fell into it sooner. But here we are. We're going to make the most out of it.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, the one thing I gotta ask you is that when it comes to every single fighter that they love training, they're always the best part. You find your training partner is like, hey, we get a chance to work on some great stuff. There's always been the best part of it, but at the end of the day, there's always been the hardest parts of training. So from your perspective, what's been the hardest part about training?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, and I get a lot of people that ask me, how do you stay so motivated, all these things. And to be honest, you're never always going to be motivated. Don't get me wrong. There are definitely days that, my alarm goes off at 5 or 6 a.m. and I'm just like, no, but it's, I've never regretted a good workout. I've never regretted laying it out all out on the line. And the one thing, I've done a lot of sports and I've been an athlete my whole life. The one thing about fighting is it's like just as much mental and emotional as it is physical. And I
Yeah,
think I love the fact that it kind of ties all those things in together. And like I tell everybody, just because you decide to train or take a few classes, you don't ever have to fully, commit to doing an MMA fight or stepping to the cage or the ring or anything like that. You do it for you, and especially to all my women out there, I at least encourage you to take some classes because that sense of feeling, strong and I don't know, it does something for you mentally as well, and just your overall confidence and your ability to kind of navigate because life is going to throw some hooks,
yeah,
life is going to
yeah.
hit you with a few uppercuts. And especially ever since the pandemic, like all of our lives have been so shifted and so different, and we've all had our own different obstacles and things that we've had to adversities we've had to overcome. And I compare that to like the fights itself, and in life, like, yes, getting hit in the face sucked, but there's a lot of other things that also suck. So you kind of have to choose your suck and embrace the suck a little bit. And I think that the one thing that fighting's really taught me is that there are a lot of things that we uh, that we put too much emphasis on that don't, in the grand scheme of things, really matter. And when you're in that moment, like the only thing that really matters is being in the moment.
Yeah.
So, that would be my advice to you guys is, at least try it out, or get involved in a class is great. It's great conditioning, great exercise. Even if you never decide to fight, the connections and the people that you meet and the people that you train with, the bond that you make there, it those last lifetimes. I'll always have those friends up in Chicago, down in Dallas, and also down here in San Antonio.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, something I've always thought about is that, even from a interviewer standpoint of view, is that, you don't have to be a fighter just to understand, what goes on in through the training parts because you can see it already just by looking at the fighter and think they went through so much. They went through the training, they went through the weight cut, they went through so much more that we as interviewers can't even imagine what these fighters go through. So trust me when I tell you, you don't have to be a fighter just to be a part of this community. You can do so much more. I mean, like I've made incredible friends just by being an interviewer, just by getting a chance to having great connections with people. And I mean, look at me and Liv. Like Liv has been a part of the fighting now for quite some time, an inspirational soul that she is. And of course, and I encourage anybody. It doesn't matter what you do. You can, set up the cage. You can go be a cameraman. You can go sell hot dogs in the fifth row for all I care. As long as you are a part of this community, trust me when I tell you, you will not regret it because I talked about this yesterday in one of my interviews that this community may not be perfect at what people thinks it is because this community can be dysfunctional a little bit, just a little bit. But at the end of the day, though, we're all one big family because we're always lifting one each other up. Because I've always thought about it after what happened with the news with Victoria Lee. It's like we all got to pitch together and lift each other up. Like you don't have to just know that person with what they're going through. You can just tell by looking at the way that they feel about things. You know what I mean? So trust me
Right.
when I tell you, if there's anybody that's not involved with this community, trust me when I tell you, go be a part of it. I promise you, you will not regret it.
Could not agree more.
Exactly. And of course, you also have another comment, and Jeremy McGraw said, "And in Indy live."
Right. I did my amateur debut was actually in Indiana. So, and then my most recent one was in Chicago. But all love for Self Evolve and for my Indie Fitness Mag crew out in Indy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Shout out to everyone. Jeremy, I definitely do appreciate you joining us down in the comments. So yeah, please, feel free to enjoy the interview. I encourage anybody that is, watching us live right now that if you are want to send some questions, feel free. Because my next question to you is that, you're currently in fighting camp. Get ready for this huge fight coming up at the end of January. And of course, we all have something that motivates us through fight camp. And I can imagine what you go through. I mean, I saw what you posted on Instagram. You pretty much bruised up, black eye and everything. I'm like thinking to myself, how do you do it? Like, how do you stay motivated just to go through so much BS that you're willing to go through just to be able to get a win at the end of the month? So my question to you is, what keeps you motivated through this fight camp?
Um, well, so after my first fight camp and stepping into the cage and obviously having this like mixture of emotions, it's like I can't even begin to explain if you've been in a fight or if you've been, in a sanctioned event, like you kind of understand what I'm trying to explain. For those of you who don't, I'll do my best. Um, when the ref put my hand in the air and I heard that my name was announced and I had won, it was like the best feeling in the whole world. Like the everything was worth it, and at the end of the day, it's like all the conditioning and the early morning running and the getting beat and punched and kicked in practice and being dripped in sweat and all of these like just counting your calories, weighing out your sweet potatoes, like all of the tracking your water, like all of those things that kind of go into the back scene. It all is so very worth it. Like that feeling, and it doesn't have to like it does not have to be fighting. But I believe that like if you fully put your heart, your soul, your mind, your blood, sweat, and tears and give something, anything in life, whether it's you want to be, at work or your personal life or with your family or your faith or whatever, that if you
Yeah.
fully commit and fully devote yourself to something, and then at the end, you see it all come to fruition, that sense of accomplishment and like like wow, like I did that, like I put all this work into it, the hard work paid off, and you just get to see it kind of all come full cycle. That to me I think is what motivates me on a daily basis, is knowing that you know this is the sucky part. This, if I make it through the camp, by the time I get up there, I get to perform. That's the fun part, and that's what we're moving towards. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. There's always a reason why.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just pushing myself to the limits and seeing not everyone is has the same abilities, or there are people that have physical or just different things that limitate them. And so it's like for me, it's like I have the ability, I have an able body, and I want to push it to its limits and see exactly what it's capable of. And that's how, in my opinion, that I honor God above, is by using the abilities and the talents and the mindset that He's blessed me with to then give it all back, pull it all out there for the people who maybe are watching, whether they're going through things or whether it motivates and inspires other people. Like I get inspired by knowing that there are other people that get motivated and inspired by the work that I put in, and that seeing that, hey, look, it is worth it. Push
Yeah.
through, push past, it's worth it.
Yeah. And I'm gonna switch things up a bit as far as like what I had in mind for this question, because there's one really one huge topic that I would love to get a chance to ask you, is that from a interviewer's standpoint of view, is that we all see how much the sport has helped us, not only physically, not only just getting in shape and being better as far as bodies, but of course mentally. We see how much change that we see developed anytime if you walk into a gym, is that you could be in a dark place, and that these fighters, whether if it's going through domestic abuse, whether if they're going through a divorce, it doesn't matter what they're going through, this sport, this type of environment has helped them out so many ways mentally. So my question to you is, how much has the sport helped you out mentally?
A lot, actually. My full-time job can be pretty demanding, and I love it. I'm passionate about it, and I found that, prior to getting into MMA and fighting in general, I put all of everything into work, and I would carry it home with me. And think it was hard for me to like just leave it at work, or have that balance of lifestyle. So once I started getting into MMA and fighting, I found that my overall mood, my ability to compartmentalize, to handle stress, even, or channel the stress. Because I think with, at practice, if I have a rough day at work, I get to go into the gym and not take it out on my sparring partners, but I get to kind of channel that frustration in a I guess, not, I don't want to say beneficial, but like in a constructive way. So that way, when I go
Yeah.
home at night, I can focus on, spending time, quality time with my boyfriend and my dog. And I don't have to worry about, all these other things or all these minor inconveniences. And it also kind of puts things in perspective, like I think sometimes, and as a general, I've seen my family, I've seen friends, I've seen people that like really just let life or let work or let, relationships just impact their overall mood and their quality of life and their happiness. But, through the training, I've been able to find that like there are other things out there, and that just because you have a bad day at work or a bad conversation with someone in your relationship or whatever it might be, that doesn't have to completely ruin or level your day. And so for me, I think it's helped me have a little bit more balance to my life. I get to, have something to look forward to once I leave work and not, okay, I'm just going to stay here. I'm just going to work longer, and get that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I also think just overall confidence, like, it helped me kind of figure out who I was as a person and, what sets my soul on fire. And in turn, it's allowed me to be, um, I, I feel like insecurity breeds jealousy. And,
Yeah.
there was a time in my life where I was like very insecure and very jealous. And it was hard for me to see other people succeed if I didn't feel like I was succeeding. So now it also gives me that, I want to uplift other people, especially other women. It's hard enough for us out there as it is. This sport has made me realize how truly amazing other women are, and all the things that we go through. So I think that would, for me, be one of the things. But everybody's different.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and everybody is different because one thing I've always think about is that, if you guys do follow the fight now, I mean, I've always think about this every single morning is that, the fighters that you see inside the cage are the fighters that you see outside the cage because to me, fighters like Liv, fighters like so many of the women that you guys see out there, they are warriors in so many ways. And to me, I get inspired by seeing what you guys do, what you guys go through because, I think about this though, if we can just wake up and just get our mind focused like we're walking our way towards a job, like we're walking our way to a fight because we're not only like just dealing with people because sometimes people suck anyways. It's just, I've always thought about this that we all go through this lifestyle and we all think about this, so we have to have a mindset like a warrior. Like what y'all go through is like something that, all of those that struggle with depression, anxiety, whatever it is, to say, hey, if they're willing to go put themselves through a lot, to go through so much hell, then you know what, I can say, hey, I'm gonna be okay because I can be just like them, except mentally. Because this type of stuff, this type of environment that we all deal with can be really difficult on us. Trust me, I'll tell you. But the one thing I can encourage you guys to do is that if you guys are struggling right now, mentally, physically, whatever it is that y'all are struggling with, go to a gym, go to your local gym. Because let me tell you this though, whenever you walk through those doors, and you meet people that you may or may not have met before, they will know you on the inside more than they do on the outside. And plus, none of that, and I think Liv can agree with me on this, but that any gym that you go to, they will treat you more of a family than your own family. That's how much this gym, that's how much, fighting can help someone out. So I encourage anybody that's watching this to go to the gym, go and meet some friends, and of course you'll see not only changes physically but also mentally. This is coming from a guy who used to hate life, who used to pretty much just say, f everything, now to loving people, now to get a chance to have the platform to have, all thanks to fighting. So trust me when I tell you, go give it a try. I think you guys will really enjoy it. So pretty much my next question is that, there's something about the sport that we all love so much. Me, I love to get a chance to just to interview amazing fighters like you, to get a chance to see, how much they have put themselves through just to be able to become the best. Because at the end of the day, though, I mean, we all have that one goal, to win, not only on the outside of the cage but also inside the cage. So yet, my question to you is, what is something about the sport that you love so much?
Well, part of that answer is, what we're doing right now. Like at the end of the day, you and I, our paths might have never crossed if it wasn't for this sport, right? And so it's like I've gotten to meet
Exactly.
all these amazing, incredible people that either love watching, love supporting, are into or whether it's they actually do it themselves. And I do want to give a huge shout out to you and to the Fighting Now, because through it, I've gotten to see and find and meet all kinds of other amazing, strong, fierce women that also do what we do. So I appreciate you and thank you for the opportunity and for doing what you do to support other women that are in, the combat sports. I think aside from that, the thing I love the most about the sport is just like pushing myself out of the comfort zone. And we've all heard the saying, great things don't happen in comfort zones.
Right.
Well, that's true. It's definitely true. And I think that, there are times that I'm in practice and I am so gassed. I'm so tired. My body hurts so bad. I just want to go home and take a hot shower and lay down. And it's like there are moments where it's like that clock, that 3 or 5 minute clock is just dragging on. And it's like in those moments, that's where you have to choose. Am I going to quit and succumb to my human nature of stay in the comfort zone, whatever? Or am I going to push through that and show myself, hey, I am tougher, I am stronger, I can handle this? And then that mentality, then you take that out and you apply that to work, to school, to any other aspect of your life, and you realize like what you're really made of, and how strong that you as a human being and you as a person really are. And that to me, I think, is probably my favorite part. I also enjoy just learning the new things, and like with MMA, you can never learn everything you can always get better. Like there is no end to it. So I do love the ongoing ability to continue to self improve and perfect the craft. But I would say if I had to like simplify it, it's just pushing yourself outside of the comfort zone so that you can figure out what you're really made of as a person. That to me is like I love that.
And then to me, one thing I've always loved is that, whenever I first started this platform, I've always had a vision of get a chance to build a platform for women to get a chance to say, hey, it's more than just what the guys are doing, but hey, these ladies can kick ass too, because you ladies have done so much. You guys have went from, main event and all these events. I mean, hell, I think Conflict had an all women's event last year. I mean, the women are changing the game. And one thing I'd love to see is that, I love to get a chance to interview fighters like you, fighters like Sandra Arndt, to Jordan Edwards, to so many incredible fighters out there. Because to me, it's that it's more than just the fighter outside the cage, but it's of course the fighter inside the cage. Because the stories that you guys share takes a lot of guts. It takes so much strength just to be able to say, I've went through a lot of BS. I went through this. I went through that, just to show that whenever we see you guys as a fighter, you guys are more than just fighters inside the cage, and it's so beautiful. And I just want to get a chance to tell you, to tell any fighter that's watching, is that I am proud of y'all. I am proud of y'all because I know it ain't easy. I've only done a little bit of training here and there, but I understand the struggles you deal with. I understand the struggles that y'all go through. So really and truly, just keep on going. Just keep doing what you're doing, because at the end of the day, at times whenever the fighters feel like that, they may not feel like that everything's worth it. Trust me when I tell you, it's worth it. The moments that you have made already 2-0 in your career, you're starting off something strong, and yet it's going to keep continuing. It's going to keep continuing. And I see that in you, Liv. So I am really excited to see what's to come. And I love your passion about the sport because it's so beautiful to see.
Well, thank you, and I'm honored to be on here, and I thank you for all that you've done for the sport and for giving women the notoriety and just the exposure that you bring.
I ain't gonna stop for now. No matter how many times I've been down, I ain't never going down for sure. So, we pretty much talked about the finishes, but of course, there was one question. I don't know if you got a chance to read it. Something I've always asked every fighter this is that at the end of the day, we all want to be recognized for something. To me, I want to be recognized as the best interviewer, the guy that's most passionate for women's MMA as I possibly can. But for you, there's so many things that we all want to be recognized for. So, my question to you is that what's something you want to be recognized for? Sorry, I rephrase that. What's something you want to be recognized for during your time in fighting?
Um, Probably like the word relentless always comes to mind, but just like the relentless pursuit, or the burning desire to succeed. Always, 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 I want to give all glory to God, right? Without
Yeah.
him, I would not be able to be on this show right now. I would not be able to put air in my lungs, put my hands in the air, do none of that. So I always want to give all glory to him. He he giveth and he take away. But then aside from that, in terms of the things that I can control, is
Yeah.
just my relentlessness. Like just never give up. And whether I win, lose, or draw, and God forbid the lose or the draw part, right? But whether I win, lose, or draw, I want all glory to be to Him, and I want people to know that I'm not done. I'm not quitting. I'm not giving up. Like, I'm not broken. You're not going to break me. That
Yeah.
I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep coming. I'm going to keep coming, keep coming. So that burning desire to succeed, or that relentless pursuit of the victory, that's what I want to be known for.
And I think you're going to be defining that this year because I know you have so many great things coming your way. Because I'm telling y'all right now, if you guys do not head on over to her Instagram at Live Barely and not following her, what are you guys waiting on? Go and follow her because she deserves all the hype. The first time I even got a chance to meet her was after her fight against Amanda Fiara, and pretty much ended in a quick fashion. I was like thinking to myself, okay, this fighter definitely deserves all the hype that she deserves. So yet, before we let you have your final thoughts and comments, you're saying, I'm not worthy. Well, me, I'm not worthy just to even get a chance to have you on. So really and truly, I'm not
No,
worthy.
no.
I'm not worthy because really and truly, you are a phenomenal fighter. You're more than that. You're just a phenomenal person. I'm excited to see what this year unfolds for you. I'm excited to see what chapters are in store for you because there's so many great things that are coming your way. And the reason why I believe in fighters like Liv and so many different amateurs out there, because to me, this 2-0 thing for right now is just the start. It's just a book, a chapter of something great for Liv, for something great for all these amateurs out there. So if you guys are not excited for amateur fighting as much as you are for the pros, what are you? You're not a fan of the sport. You're not a fan of the sport because they do the same thing as much as the pros do. But the thing is, though, is that I'm excited to see what you can do. I'm excited to see what unfolds for you because I'm telling you right now, this is the year for Live Barely. I'm excited. This is the year for Live Barely, and I'm telling you that right now. Keep telling yourself that tomorrow, next day, how many days, because this is your year. So, with that being said, do you have any final thoughts, any final comments you want to say?
Just want to again thank you for having me on here, and want to give a shout out to my coaches, my teammates. Gosh, also my last fight. You think about bringing it all together. My best friend actually got to be the ring girl at my most recent fight. So shout out to Valerie. I know she's not necessarily done like the combat sports, but she's been there through all my my weight cuts, and my fight camps. And then my most recent fight, she actually got to be in the same ring with me, holding up the signs there. So that was super amazing. Shout out to Valerie. Love you always. Shout out to my all my MMA teams that I've trained with, and cheers to 2023. I was a basketball player in college, so this is my Jordan year. So I'm planning on being active. We want to get some wins up, and this is going to be the year that we stay the most active. And for me, my plan is to go pro. I want to learn and capitalize on the experience now. But hey, cheers to 2023. I'm excited.
Cheers to 2023. You know what to say. Be like Mike because to me though, on his way to greatness, there's always a lot of chance to get a chance to win some gold. But yet for you, I know there's going to be a lot of greatness within you, and of course, hopefully you get a chance to win some gold for yourself. So I'm excited. 2023 is going to be a year for not only for myself but for you and for many others out there. I'm excited and I cannot wait. Hey, make sure you guys go check her out. Once again, I'm going to hype this up one more time so y'all can get a chance to go check out her fight at the end of January at Fury Fighting. She's going to be taking on a newcomer. It's going to be a very exciting fight. I cannot wait to see it. So make sure you guys go follow her, hype her the f up because I'm telling you right now, she's a fighter, she is a warrior, she's a goddess, and I'm telling y'all right now, go follow her. And one more question: you said that you and your best friend got a chance to be in the same cage together. Did y'all ever have
Yeah.
that little moment like, "Hey, bestie, hi, bestie" type of moment?
No, so honestly, she shows up and she's beautiful. Like, obviously she's gonna be a ring girl. If you look at her, you'll know what I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
so she shows up, and she, was there again, always by my side, in my corner, whatever. And that they were missing a ring girl. And so it was kind of a last minute day of my fight, 4 or 5 hours before. And so they let her, walk around. And I did, in the moment, obviously I was aware that she was there, but in the moment I'm like, okay, I'm focusing on the win. But then it was really cool because when I'm watching the fight afterwards, whenever I did have her on the ground, and I was, I was ground and pounding, you can see her in the back of the pictures like screaming. And the guy comes over, and he's like telling her, like, you can't do that. You're a ring girl. You can't do that. Because she was talking mad smack to my opponent, which again, that's why she's my girl always and forever. But that'll forever be one of my favorite stories,
Oh my
because
god.
like, so yeah, that was. I'll have to send you over like the little clip it of her getting in trouble for cheering for me during the fight, you know.
And
But yeah, no, that was priceless.
I tell you what you got to do is that at the end of this interview, whenever I send it to you, you gotta like cut the clip of us talking about her. And by the way, we're not talking bad about you. So shout out to your best friend. Shout out to the queen herself because I know she'll definitely be appreciated. That is some true friendship right there. That is some
It
true
is.
friendship.
It is. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
that's really awesome. I mean, shout out to her. Shout out to the Ring Girls as well. I know they definitely deserve some appreciation as well. So shout out to
absolutely.
her. Liv, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. Good luck to your fight at the end of the month. Make sure you guys go follow her and make sure you guys go show her some love because trust me when I tell you, amazing fighter, amazing person. She's always going to be a part of the fight now until the day I die. So you best believe that we're going to keep hyping this woman until no more fighting now for sure. Okay.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Jake.
No problem. I'll let you go. All right. So that was Miss Liv Barely, ladies and gentlemen. That was an incredible interview. That was an exciting interview. A great way to end the weekend. We had two interviews yesterday with Kelly Clayton and Diana Diamonds to now end the week off with Miss Liv Beerley. So I'm excited. It's been a fun one, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you guys like what you see, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And once again, I'm gonna hype up, as far as the Instagram page. Make sure you guys head on over to the Fighting Now on Instagram. Go show some love because it was an incredible interview. We got so many ladies to get a chance to be a part of this incredible interviews that we're doing. We have a year full of interviews for y'all to come. I'm excited, so you guys do not want to miss out on that. But hey, until then, ladies and gentlemen, I am Jake representing the Fighting Now, saying so long. See you guys later, and be careful and have a great one.